turn to a Democratic member of the Congress now, Congresswoman Julie Johnson, Texas. Welcome back. Good to have you on the show. What did you see last night? I've been looking at numbers and trying to, we all maybe try too hard to decipher trends and what you could project forward. But again, as I was saying to the congressman from Colorado, the moderates in the Democratic Party did pretty well also. So here we are, government shutdown, day after Election Day. What were your observations?
Well, I thought it was a resounding rejection of Trump, Trumpism, and complicit Republicans. We had record turnout and Democrats won by record margins, far exceeding all of the polls that what was predicting to be the outcome. And I think what we saw very clearly is the American people saying, we don't like what's happening. Things are too expensive. The government is not addressing our needs. They're focused on lining the pockets of the Trump family and other billionaires, and they're not fighting for working folks in this country, and that Democrats have a better option for that. And what we saw was resounding from California to Georgia to Virginia to New Jersey and everywhere in between. Democrats won big last night. They did.
Off year, though, not as many and not as important as we'll see next year. Can you just sit on that and say, all right, this means Democrats cruise to victory in the midterms, or is there more work to do? And if there is specifically, where's the work for Democrats now?
Well, there's always work to do. I mean, the American people are suffering and struggling, which is one of the reasons why we saw such a rejection of what the Republican policies are doing, because they're doing nothing but hurting American families further. The cost of everything is up. They're trying to take away health care. They're trying to have 40 million kids and seniors go hungry. That is not solving the problems for the American people. And so, yes, there's a ton of work to do. We're in the middle of a shutdown. The government is dysfunctional. It's not working. And the American people deserve much better from that. So, yeah, there's a whole lot of work to do, and I don't think Democrats are going to rest until we achieve some of these goals.
What about all this redistricting? That was on the ballot. On the tablet, we have California's Prop 50, which was the big headline last night. In the late hours, the yes wins it. So the idea here in California was that now the Dems go +5. That was the same idea in your state, in Texas, in the other party, that the Republicans we're going to go +5, but now I'm reading more and more that maybe that won't be the case. What's going to happen? Are the Republicans really going to pick up the 5 seats, or do you expect some of those districts actually still be competitive and maybe even still be Democratic districts?
Right. There's an old saying, a pig gets fat and a hog gets butchered. And the Republicans stretched it too far, I think, in Texas. There's millions and millions of millions of millions of people in the state of Texas that vote Democrat. And they are not happy with what's happening in our state politics or in our federal politics. Just right here in North Texas, for example, there was a state Senate special election yesterday, and the Democrat, outperformed both Republicans on the ballot and led is with 47%. I don't think anyone predicted that to happen. And so I think you're going to see these races being a lot more competitive. You're going to see, Democrats outperforming and really giving the Republicans a run for their money. I think they're going to regret the day they chose to go down this path.
Yeah, as much as, I'm from New York, so the pigs and the hogs thing, I'm just making sure I'm understanding. You're saying that the Democrats could still win some of the districts. That's what I took away from it. So it's not going to...
Absolutely. That's right. I think Democrats, Republicans just got a little too greedy on their redistricting, and they made the districts too thin.
Okay, because that's kind of a big story, because going into the midterms, there were a bunch of articles written and a bunch of commentary made that said, well, even if it's a wash, California versus Texas, or if it's a wash, then Republicans maybe pick up some other seats in other states, and they still have an advantage in what ordinarily would be a tough midterm. So you're saying that advantage might be smaller. How do you see things from your party's perspective going into next year, right now?
Well, I think the Democrats are poised to take the House back in a substantial way. I mean, just look at
like 18, like a 30, 40 seat, like a big wave election.
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at what happened in 2025 and compare it to what happened in 2017 after Trump 1.0, and then what happened in 2018 and what we're going to see in 2026. 2017, there's a similar outcome, but not even this robust. This performance last night far exceeded the outcomes of what happened electorally in 2017. And in 2018, just in Texas alone, we flipped 2 congressional seats. We flipped 12 House seats. I was one of those. I flipped a House seat that was in Republican hands for 4 decades. I was the first Democrat to hold it. And I didn't win just by a little. I won by 13 points. I mean, it was an epic sea change of what was going on here and across the country. And I think that we're going to see that similar result in many congressional races is throughout the nation.
A lot can happen in a year. A lot happened in this past year. We'll see what happens next year. Congresswoman Julie Johnson, Democrat, Texas. Thank you.